Hello, folks. Welcome to we like call this the International Break Call-in Show. Well, obviously today there's not going to be anything too major in the news to talk about. So the speciality of this is we open up the link and let you guys fly with it today. So
Yeah,
here to join me while we sit down and lollygag is Jim and Dave, who has returned from the Stuttgart.
I'm back, bitches, and demonetized.
Yeah, you went 2 minutes
Oh,
30 seconds. We're good.
hey, how are y'all? I missed you.
Awesome, awesome. So again, today I'm just going to drop the link out in the chat. Fripp, you can come in if you want to talk about something. You can talk about something. Fair game. Everything's fair game. We can talk about wrestling. We can talk about uh,
NFL.
NFL stuff. You want to talk some
I haven't
NBA
I
stuff?
haven't
We
watched
can.
anything today though, like regarding NFL. But hey, we can talk some football.
Okay. Lions are beating the piss out of the Cowboys.
Yes, are they?
Yeah,
Oh
oh
my
yeah,
god.
20-3
Oh yes. Are we in the before halftime right now?
before halftime.
Oh my god! Please kick the piss out of them. Oh my god.
So we've got that. Man. So you want to talk about your trip to Stuttgart? I know
I
you mentioned you got inspired by
so
the Zerbi like coach.
so So I can't tell too much openly, but yeah, I actually met a Bundesliga coach, and damn, it was so much fun. Like him explaining his tactics, his philosophy of football, and honestly, like it widened the perspective on how I watch football. Like, I don't know how it was for you, Dash, but for me, for example, since I studied sports management and I learn more and more of the tactical stuff of how a team is composited, of the background of players' contracts and bonuses and everything, and how a whole football club is assembled and how it's working. Like my view on the game changed completely. And sometimes, honestly, it's just not as much fun and not as enjoyable anymore to watch a football game because you have all the tactical stuff.
Welcome to the pragmatism of my
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, with all the background stuff you are thinking about how you manage a team, how you manage different characters. Some players are flamboyant, so some are less, some are okay with their roles, some are. Let's take as an example Manuel Neuer at Bayern, who somewhat like behaves like a diva. Like he wants to be the captain, he wants to be the number one every single match. He doesn't want to take a backseat, he doesn't want to be a backup, like for example in cup competition or whatever.
Mhm.
Like you have players like that want to play every single game, but you as the coach have to tell them, hey, no, you have to sit this one out. Or some of them have the actual power to overrule a coach as well. And these are things that you aren't even thinking about. Like when we watch a football game, there's so much stuff into it. And honestly, like we can free flow the debate. We can talk about football philosophically, about tactics, about team management, how you manage characters, dude. I love that talk as well. Maybe we can nerd out a bit today if you want.
Yeah,
Hey, and
I'm all for it.
Eagles won.
They
I read
did.
the Eagles won. Oh
They
my
beat
god.
the Browns
Yeah, it's the Cleveland Browns, but a win is a win.
for sure.
A win
So
is a win.
I know you talked to me about you wanted to nerd out on tactics. So like for example, I think the interesting thing is like for me I come from like a player perspective, player background as well as like a player
Yeah,
improvement and you're getting the whole pie. Where
yeah,
it's like I've only gotten a schmidz of it. So like I'm more than willing to we can throw down during the call-in show and kind of talk and see what you've learned, your thoughts on it, and your thing about tactics as well. Because like I'm telling you, once I always tell folks this: the more you know about the game, the more you know about the inner workings of everything, the more
yeah.
pragmatic you become personnel wise. Like for
Absolutely.
example, when I was playing when I was younger, like I wasn't as it's such a weird way to phrase this, but like skill level, I wasn't where I am now. However, it was more memorable for me back then, right? Because it was just like I was a winger, right? And I was just nitty gritty. Like I was just a gritty winger. Like I would just go up and down, up and down, up and down,
Yeah,
cut in, take a shot, take a guy on one on one.
Yep.
where it's like that was where I just had those drives when I would go for it, and then it's like now more so like I touch the ball more because either, I play as a trequartista or a regista, or sometimes I can play as a 9, but generally speaking, a lot of the teams or the groups that I've played with, they just don't have great ball facilitators or passers and whatnot,
Yep.
so I've always kinda been relegated to that role. So it's like now it's like I touch the ball more, I contribute more than I did back then, but it's almost like, for example, it's a lot more pragmatic because, like, for example, I'm taking it, right? I get the ball, and so Friday night, I was playing as a regista, for a buddy's team. I was filling in, and it was like I saw it. He was like, "Hey, I need you to play striker. Can you come play Friday night?" I'm like, "Sure, whatever. Let's go." And then I go, and then and this is where, like, Dave, this is where it gets you, like, within the first 2 minutes of the match, I'm like, "No, I can't play 9." He's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "You guys can't facilitate ball through the back. You
Yep.
kill."
Oh, I feel that, yeah.
So it's like, in my head, I'm going into it, I'm listening, I have my AirPods in, I'm, like, listening to some music, I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna get me a hat trick, I'm gonna do some crazy shit."
Yep.
And then I get in there and I look at it, I'm like, "Fuck, it's one of those games.
Yep.
Oh, god damn it." And then, my buddy looks at me and he's like, "I think I know what you're saying." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys need someone who can do quick one touches to play you out of the press.
Yep.
Like, can you do it?" Like, "I can do it. Am I a master at it? No, but fuck it, I'll throw it in there." So, I go in there and I essentially become like a Jorginho in a sense where it's just like I take the ball, recirculate it, switch it across. There's a
Yep.
couple of times where I had some filthy chips over their center backs and it would land right in front of
Yep.
the wingers. Because the issue is these guys didn't have like a 9 to hold up play. And that's where it's just like playing and seeing it on TV. It's almost like one of those things where I'm like, if you the hold up 9 or, like, for example, Lukaku-esque role is one of the most underrated positions in football.
Absolutely, it is.
I think it's because, like, for example, from me and holding the ball and when I'm looking at where I wanna facilitate play, it's like I can instantly see the center back try to pinch the winger with the fullback. Like, I'm instantly seeing it, and then, like, for example, in my head, I'm like, "Okay, I can't go low, I can't go around, I have to go over the top. That's the only way I can hit the wingers over the top and in stride." So, like, I'm sitting there and I'm, like, calculating in my head, I'm like, "Okay, I've got maybe a half a second where I've gotta fire this ball, and I have to." And one of the things with me is, like, I can put a laser on you, but you have to be able to touch it if you want me to
Yeah.
get a proper pass, and, like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the guys ahead of me can't. So I have
And
to.
you also have to, then you also have to have the vision to anticipate it,
Yep.
because then you are a step earlier, and it's easier to control the ball. Maybe you have a second more to control it, and that makes the game easier on you. But when you are in a pressurized situation where you have only that 1 millisecond to just get the ball off, and they're not reading the play correctly, it's either
It's bad.
a lost ball, or you turn around again and play a backwards pass because the press already caught up to you.
And then I was able to kinda just, like, I remember I got the ball from the center back. I dropped my shoulder to my right so I can turn to the left so I can at least give myself half a second. I see the winger making his run, and I kinda just Pirlo chip it, and it goes and it's a nice meatball too. Like, it's a nice backspin, slow roll ball right over the center back's head, lands right on the winger's chest, hits it off the post.
Oh.
And
It sounds, and, like, visually how I imagine it, it
it's
looks filthy.
like, the crazy thing about it, and viewers too, feel free to hop in if you want, but,
The link is in the chat.
when I was a kid, like, scoring goals were like ecstasy, but, like, now as an adult, like, if I hit that one great pass or
The
that
assist.
perfect pass,
Yes, I absolutely feel you. The assist, oh my god.
because it's just like it's yeah, it's so cynical, Dave, but, like, if you've ever seen a team's, like, morale just drop when you give one
Yes.
ball that goes right through their entire team.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like, for example, it's a different thing where it's like, okay, a guy beats like 3 or 4 guys off the dribble and scores, or a guy scores
Yep.
a goal from outside the box. They're kind of like, "Oh, whatever," right? But, like, if you're just in that deep lying role, you're straight looking at that entire team. Like, when you're playing as a regista, that entire
Yes.
team is looking at you. So, like,
Yes.
they're looking to press you, and you just do one simple play, one simple chip, and it just goes right through them. They're just kind of like,
Yeah.
"What just happened?"
What happened? Yeah.
So, like, that's one of those things where you know it was a great pass when you hear the other team from the bench, like, their bench was like, "Holy fuck, what a ball." Like, I just kinda
Yeah.
chuckled and I looked at the bench and I kinda nodded at him. Uh, but it's just again, like I said, it just goes to show how important that hold up player is. Like, if you don't have
Yeah.
that, it's just non-existent. And then, I had this one instance too. It was like maybe 25 minutes later, right before halftime. I saw that their fullback was giving my left winger too much space, and my center back wasn't paying it, or their center back wasn't paying attention. So there,
Oh,
one of
he wasn't filling up the gap that
he
the
wasn't filling the
fullback
gap.
left open, right?
Yeah, he
Oh,
didn't.
oh,
So
I know that.
I had a winger in
I
between.
Dash, I know that from my time because I played fullback.
So like
I know that from my time.
I had oh my goodness, I think the only way I could describe it is like I have to put the board out for you to see it. But like I had an op so I saw the space and I saw the gap and I ran up to the edge where the throw in is, and I was just like, so hold on. Because like it won't do. I have to like put this on here so it won't be any justice if I don't. Oh, look at that. The Lions just scored again. So they're up 27-3 on Dallas.
Oh god, yeah, man.
Okay. So I see the gap here. So there's like a little bit of a gap, and then my winger is right there. So my winger is going to be Fajoli. So then I'm like right here, and I see that immediately. I see that as the ball's out of play. So the ball goes out of play, and I see that gap, and I see him kind of just because they're doing a high press.
Yeah.
So they're all pressing high. So then, like, this is kind of what they looked like in a sense. So, like, I see the gap right there, and then this is like, extra time right before halftime. So then what I do is, so the guys hear what the throw in. So I'm like, so I immediately check to this because I see it. So then he throws it to me. He kind of just like gives me a simple
Yeah.
throw in. So what I do, one touch without even like taking a touch to look for it. I just knew where I wanted to place it. I took the ball and I sent it with backspin right here. I put it right there.
Oh my god.
And the center back bit in because he thought I was going to the 9. So the center back bites in. He occupies this space, and the fullback's literally tripping on his ankles because he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot to mark
Yeah.
him."
Oh my
The
god.
the only issue, Dave, this guy does a fucking scorpion, I don't know, half volley attempt where it was chest level. He could just Mario Balotelli it with his chest or just headbutt it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Completely whiffs the touch,
Oh
whiffs it.
man.
The goalkeeper's here, mind you.
Yeah.
The keeper's there, completely misses the keeper because the way that it curved in, it kind of curved in at an angle and it dropped down on him because of the backspin. And I'm like sitting there and I'm just like this. I almost swore and I would have gotten carded for it. And I'm just like, I just walked. I just walked off because the whistle for halftime goes in. I'm sitting there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then I'm
Oh
just like,
man.
oh, I gave him one. I'm like, dude, just touch it. Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if you're afraid to use your head. I don't care if it busts your nose. It's not going to. I was like, that thing was so slow. My grandma
Yeah.
could have hit that.
Yeah. Dude.
So it's just like I had that, and I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, oh, like,
Yeah.
and kind of to get back to like the whole theme of the argument is like nowadays it's just more so like you look at the game now, and it's like when you're older or when you understand a lot of the fundamentals or the things that go beyond the game.
Yeah.
Um, I don't wanna say it takes the joy out of it, but it kind of like you're looking at it and you're like, "Okay, that goal we scored that goal because their fullback did this, which gave our center back the ability to do
Yeah.
this." So, like, the more technical, the more tactical you get into the game, it kind of pulls the emotion out of it. Hence why, like, for
Yeah.
example, Maple Dave would always just sit there and be like, "Well, you never really celebrate, right?" And I'm just kinda because like, whenever we score, I just look at it, I'm just like, "Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool beans," right?
For me it's just if it's I don't know, like a late game winner or a goal that ties the game late, dude. I'm as well like on ecstasy. But I'm not the guy that gets up and screams like for every single goal because I'm all Like, I don't know if emotionally that is the right term for it,
I think pragmatic
but
would be a better term.
pragmatic, yeah. Yeah, that fits better. Look, from my time back then, like, mid 2000s, early 2010s was, what was my football career basically during the school days. Um, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the best goal scorer, I wasn't technically the best, like, I couldn't, juggle the ball, like, more than 15 times or whatever, like, I wasn't technically the best footballer. Like,
Mhm.
never was, never will be. But what I was great at, I had incredible stamina always, so I can run like a berserk up and down the pitch, the whole time, and my crosses were deadly.
That's one of the
And
things so, like, one of the traits that, like, I think is underrated, it's a pain in the ass to deal with is, like, for example, a guy that has, like, an engine, like, a guy that just
yeah,
nonstop moves because,
McKenny,
like
dude, I was
yeah,
McKenny.
because and it's not like, for
Yeah,
example, "Oh, this guy's gonna cook us," or whatever, it's just that guy will cook you when you're not paying attention.
yeah,
Because it's just like that's the guy that you always have to account for
yeah,
is the guy with that just has, like, nonstop stamina because you don't know where he is or where he might pop out in.
yeah,
And if you're not
and
careful, you're essentially you're eating
yeah,
something really,
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, and that gave myself like always an advantage because I had the stamina. Like for example, if it's for example a sprint where I as the fullback are running to the opponent's goal line basically,
Mhm,
and they have let's say a winger that has the fast the quicker sprinting speed, but
mhm.
he hasn't got the stamina to go the full length of the pitch at that speed. I'm
Yep.
always winning that race because I have the stamina to win that. So I always made my runs towards the goal line. Sorry, the touch line, and my cross is literally like from just before the ball goes outside, so no risk of offside, no anything. If the striker or the midfielder that made a cut or whatever, if he just has half an inch, it was always an assist,
Mhm.
and that was my strength. But I developed that by myself at some point because I don't know if it was the limited vision by coaching at that time, but my coach never wanted me to go past the midline, basically. So he wanted to hold us a defensive line and not to risk conceding goals.
We call those guys I know what those guys are. Those are like the
Yeah,
super defensive coaches.
yeah,
Mine was always like and that might be part of why I hated the 4-3-3 so much growing up was like the place where I played in high school, it just wasn't tactically enough. It was like tactically enough to where like it wasn't where like it was organized properly. It was just, oh yeah, 4-3-3, and we'll just do this and we'll counter and blah blah blah. And I'm just kind of like you didn't learn much. Like football conditioning in the United States is just more so about you running more than like really getting a feel for how the game works or anything
yeah,
like that. And
yeah,
that's where it kind of always irritated me more so because it was like it always felt like I learned more when I was in college. Like, when I was playing in college, I learned more about the game, and I started, like, taking it upon myself to understand, why certain things work the way they do and
yeah,
how certain plays develop and why they develop. I think for me, when I took the biggest step was when I injured my knee. When I injured my knee, I think it was gosh, it was, like, almost 8 years ago-ish, where it was just like, I can't be that winger anymore. Like, physically, I couldn't be it because, when you injure your knee, kinda similar I didn't tear my ACL, but I injured my
I
meniscus.
I guess you developed an understanding for what you can do, not like Mo Salah's backup.
But, like, yeah, and that's the thing that I always found kind of like and I've always been that philosophy, right? Like, if there's always an issue or there's something that's a problem, you gotta, like, someone will like, a mediocre person will complain about it, an elite player will find a way to overcome it, right? So, for me, that's where I was just kind of like, I, uh I can't play on the wing anymore. Like when I came back, because I rehabbed it, I trained for about a year, strength and conditioning, the whole nine yards. I gained weight too, because I can't convert it, but I remember I was like 150 pounds and I gained about like 20, 30 pounds of muscle
Yeah.
just to compensate for the knee injury.
Yeah.
So, and then I did that. And then when I came back, I didn't, part of me was still a little bit mentally off as far as playing on the wing. But then it was just more so I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this because I'm just going to get hurt again if I keep playing this position in the
Yeah.
way that I did.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of like when I was rehabbing my knee, I was more so watching, I was watching All or Nothing Manchester City with Guardiola. I was watching a bunch of
Oh,
other things too,
oh,
right? And
yeah,
I was like sharpening my mind because in my head I was like, how the fuck
yeah,
did I get injured and what can I do to not get, injured again? So I did that and I kind of really started going into the rabbit's hole when it came to the tactical sense of the game. And then once I did that, I came back and it was just like I became a different player. Like when I was early on my rehab, I did something that no one would normally do is I switched to goalkeeper because it was less demanding on my knee, but I could still get
impact the game.
still get game and sense into it. And I'm gonna let
Yeah.
Jeff in. Uh, so
What's
I could
that?
still what's going on, Jeffy?
What's up?
Not much. I wasn't gonna get into the chat, but you guys got into a really good conversation that like I wanted to chip in as well. So
Hey,
No, for sure.
feel free, man.
For sure. So, but on my rehab adventure, so I was like, okay, I knew I couldn't play field positions because it was just too demanding, right? With the cuts and the way that my play style was at the time.
Yeah.
So, I remember telling my dad because my dad's team needed a goalie, and I was like, let me sit in net. What? Just let me do it. He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, I've played defense before, so I've got the natural instincts. I played basketball. I was a dual athlete. I played soccer and I played basketball. So the hands, the throwing, like I have that. Like I have the foundations for it. Uh, so and then I started playing. Obviously, you had growing pains, but I started really piecing together what Guardiola would say about you need to be here, to understand here. So like I started paying attention to certain things, different traits and stuff like that, where it's just like
Yeah.
I don't have like, I don't like if I was going up against, an Emmanuel Neuer-esque player, right? He'd
Yeah.
probably beat me. But like we're the one thing where I think is able to compensate and help me as a goalkeeper when I was recovering was I was able to start seeing lines. Like I was almost in a sense I was able to see the future in a sense where I'm like, okay, this winger is cutting in on this direction. I have back post open. He can't hit those back post crosses, so more than likely he's going to go for a one-on-one push to the right. Then he's going to take a half a touch, so I'm going to go there and force a 50-50 ball. Like I was having those monologues. It was almost like an anime.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting there like just having those conversations with myself. I'm like, if I go here to do this and I can do this and adjust here, I think we'll be good. So then I started doing that and I started picking up momentum and stuff like that. And then obviously at the same time, I was, resharpening the tools because it was, about a year since I've played because of the knee injury at the time. And one of the things that a lot of folks may not understand if they haven't been with a long-term injury is it takes a while. And it's not because like for example the ligaments, it's not the muscle structure or anything like that. It's the thing that takes the longest to come back is your head
Yeah.
because you're coming back with and it's like yeah it's a leg right or it's a knee it's an elbow it's a this
no.
it's almost like a new body like when you step
Yeah.
on there it
100%.
feels like an entirely new body. So that was one of the issues that I had when I was coming back was like I was sitting there and again I'm not a professional athlete. I don't have access to the best doctors etc right, so it's kind of learn as you go right. I'm an average Joe. So like I was looking at it and I was like sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, I gotta, how do I do this? How can I adjust here? I'm like, and then, the worst would be, it was like, I wanted to be a ball playing goalkeeper because I played the field all my life. So I'm like, let me play the ball. But then the moment I'd get the ball and I'm like, I used to have this back turn that I would always do and I would always hesitate for it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
shit. So here's what I did then. I was like, okay, let me do one touch passing. Let me improve on that and find a way around it. But I think for me, the position that taught me the most about the game was hands down playing goalkeeper.
Wow. You know, you guys got into this conversation, and I kind of wanted to like jump in as well because, like to play soccer in America is super difficult because we never had that best access to the best academies. And if you had any form of academy, like access to an academy, it was very expensive to play. Even if you were really good to get like through a scholarship program or anything like that, it was
Mhm.
still very difficult. So like I understand Dash so well, like I can relate to him because even for me, this is my passion. I love it so much that like all I would do, like everything I did was self learn for the most part,
Yeah.
and I had to learn everything on myself. Like for me, the type of player I was I loved dribbling the ball. I was really good with the ball. I was dribble a lot. I used to look up to players like Ronaldinho, Zinedine Zidane, Manchester United, Ronaldo, Cristiano, and like Messi. And like I would love dribbling the ball. I was really good with my left. I could shoot. I had rocket of a foot. But as I got older, I gained a little more weight. So I wasn't able to do all that, all the maneuvering.
Mhm.
But what really changed my life about the game, I honestly I feel like really grateful for was getting to be coached by a player that was once a former Man United player. And I didn't believe at this. I didn't believe it myself that he was a Man United, but he was the guy that replaced Georgie Best. Not replaced, but
Oh,
he played, yeah.
oh,
Gordon Hill. Gordon Hill. I don't
yeah.
think he was as good
I
as like
remember. I
Yeah.
yeah,
remember the name. Yeah.
Gordon Hill was once my coach. I know I didn't believe it either, but he taught me the way that he explained the game. He literally made me realize everything. Like he changed my whole perspective on the game. I always talk about the first touch in the ball, off ball movement, spatial awareness. He's the guy that told me all of that. Like he changed my entire perspective because I was a punk. Like when I played before, like prior to being coached, I was a punk. I never passed the ball. I was like a Chiesa pretty much, like on the right side, trying to use my left foot and score. I didn't have a concept of the game. I didn't have like the best. I had some good coaches, but the thing was there wasn't enough resources for me to understand the game at a young
Yeah.
age. I had the talent. I worked really hard. I would juggle the ball every day. I would live, breathe, sleep, nothing with the ball.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have the concept, and that was the problem. So when I had this guy like explain it to me, it's like holy fuck! Like it was like that makes so much sense now. And the thing why I tell a lot of young players is I don't give a damn how well you are with the ball because you've only completed like one out of the three factors. You still got to be good without the ball, and they're going to look at the way you do your first touch. Not necessarily that you can control your first touch, but the
Yeah.
way you maneuver and how you do the first touch. Where are you going to direct it? They want to see your thought process about the game and how do you understand your players. When I understood that, my game went from like a 6 out of 10 because I had the skill and the potential to like a 20 out of 10 because I could use my other skill sets and then have like my footballing IQ skyrocketed. So it's like I look at a player, I know where he makes the runs. I knew how to make the through ball, the perfect through ball. I can't play in the wing now, so I like to play more centrally. So I play the attacking mid role. So I
Yeah.
do that. Or whether I'm looking at a defender, I'll pass it back. I will try to simplify it. So he was telling me this one quote from Johan Cruyff, and he said, one of the hardest things to do in this sport is to play simple. And a lot of people I notice don't know how to do that. They're always focusing on passing it forward, forward, forward.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, it was like I
Yeah.
always I get pissed at the players and then I yell and then like, oh Jeff, you're an asshole. I'm like, no, trust me. I just want to
Yeah.
make you a better player. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was like my story.
You
For
know,
for exa-
go ahead, Jake. Go ahead,
for
Jake.
example, we had so many times like how many wingers we had that are that way, that are just taking those dribbles 1v1, because as a child you don't think about the deeper concept
Mhm.
of football and how to beat the man, like or your opponent tactically. You're trying to dribble him 1v1 because as a child, like some are more gifted than the others, and the winger that is gifted technically, like of course will try to do that if he's not taught properly, like the mechanics of the game, the positioning, how to do a cut maybe, or how to pass the ball up, off run past the opponent and get the through ball then instead, like those concepts as a child are difficult to understand if you don't have a coach that teaches you properly. For example, we didn't have that. Like my understanding of the game, I taught that myself because, like I mentioned earlier, for example, my coach told me never to go past the midline as a fullback. And you see the diverse roles that how a fullback can impact the game. Like
Mhm.
most of the times, gave a shit about his coaching because I said, "Hey, it's limiting us in the game. So why should I?" So I told the center back that was next to me, who was my best friend. He was already at that time like bigger, stronger, so that's why he played center back. I told him, "Hey, cover that space behind me
Mhm.
in case I go forward." I don't want to stretch it too much because my coach will rip my head off. But if I do that, just cover like the half space behind me, so we don't fall to the danger of a counter attack. And I will move forward. I will talk to the center mid that is diagonally in front of me and to the right winger because the base tactics was a 4-3-3 back then. So you have
Mhm.
three midfielders. One is on my side in the half space, and the winger in front of me. I told them, "Hey, let's try to build a triangle, or maybe if we can get another midfielder into it, or the striker falls back, maybe we can't even build sorry, man, a diamond shape or whatever. You know, let's try something to beat the other fullback and the center back. Let's try to beat them like that way." And that is how I understood how I can make those runs to the touchline, beat a man then over the sprint 1v1 instead of trying to dribble past him all the time, or to do it just via passing. Maybe it's opening up another player, and that helped my understanding of how to play offensively as a fullback and how to manage those half spaces, do those crosses, or maybe even give a pre-assist to the winger that is doing the touch to the touchline, and he's then assisting into the box. You know, and so
Right.
much of it like I taught myself because I saw the gaps that the opponent is giving, and we weren't using them because our coach said, "Hey, no, you stay with four men exactly at the midline, you don't go past that." And how are you supposed to score if you keep all your men basically on the midline, you know?
You know, this was the thing that like a lot of people don't understand, or a lot of younger players, or I like to call the flashy guys, don't understand. The ball flies faster than you can run.
Mhm.
That's one of those
Yeah.
things where like if someone doesn't understand that, oh man, they are going to be stuck in a certain level
And also,
forever.
the thing is, because like as Dave was saying, like you have to understand your players, like the team that you have and how they
Yeah.
operate. I'll give you my example too. I play like in like Tuesday leagues, like a 6v6. I know what I offer to the team. I'm a technical player. So I want like two or three players to stick by me
Mhm.
so I can like I'm not necessarily trying to dribble, but I'm stalling time so that my wingers can make that run. I give them the through ball and create an
That you have,
opportunity
hey,
to score.
passing outlet, yeah. Create
Yeah,
a passing
so I
outlet.
can do
Yeah.
that. While my other partner, I call him the Polish Skriniar. So he's very good with the ball too. He's
Uh,
technical, but sometimes his mistakes are more like he holds the ball too much and then doesn't pass it at the right time. But what he has, what I don't, is that he's aggressive, he's tough, he will win you the ball. He's a tough son of a bitch, so he will win you the ball. So he compensates my weaknesses as I compensate his weakness, and we works
yeah.
like perfect. We're like a perfect duo. Like me and
Mhm.
him were good. But that's like the thing. And then like I also understand how my players operate, so I can give them input on things. When I know things that they can't work on because it's impossible physically, I will try to get them to work on other things to make it simple. Like if you're small and you can't take on a bigger player, you don't need to dribble them. Just pass it back and then move without the ball and get open. So it's really the thing is it's like know what you're doing, understand the situation, and I think you will be fine. So it doesn't matter. So yeah.
No, I'm with you there. And that's where like folks need to understand it. And I think if you want to look at it from a more entertainment, it's a little bit over the top, but if people watch or read Blue Lock, or if they read or watch Ayoshi. Those are two animes slash mangas that break down the game into an actual, like, it's not like, I'm gonna punch him really, really hard to win this game, or the power of friendship to win this game. It's actually like really in depth, where it's like, I need to do this, I have to adjust this. This is what they do. Like, if you really want to take your
Okay.
understanding of the game to the next level, that's the one thing I'd recommend people to read or watch. They're really good pieces of content.
No, I believe it. Yeah, no, it's like a lot of these Japanese animes, in my opinion, like they have a lot of they always have a lesson behind them. But speaking of Japanese animes, I'm a massive
Yeah,
Dragon Ball head.
Daimla's back. Dragon Ball's
Yeah,
back.
Dragon Ball's back. The video game's back. The game that was revamped after 17 years was back. I pre-ordered it, and the freaking hurricane took off powers. So now I'm playing it at my dad's tattoo shop because they had power. So I'm fucking pissed. Like literally the week that it was supposed to come out on October 11th,
Yeah.
power was out from fucking Milton.
You're
So I'm
not
literally
missing much,
pissed.
dude. Like, the online matchmaking is terrible. I don't think it works properly. I think that's the only issue with the game. The campaign's fun, like the
Oh,
what
I'm
ifs and
still
all that
playing
stuff.
it. I'll still play it. I don't give a damn. But I do think well, I mean, I'm gonna go quick on it. I do think if you're doing like a PvP play, like if you're doing like teams, they have it with destruction points. So like
Yeah,
you have it in the point system. So like the strongest characters consume a lot more points, so you have to use only him, and then the weaker characters have less points, so they can try to balance it out. That's the
I
only
think
thing yeah.
I don't know. Do you have an issue with that? I don't really care that much. But
I
I
know.
played the old
I
school.
love
Like,
it.
like my favorite is, like, I pull out a Chaozu or a Yajirobe and just start clapping someone's cheeks with it.
Oh
And they're like,
yeah.
"What the fuck?" Because,
I
like,
love
yeah,
I love the point system. No, I
yeah,
love it. I love it. Never
no,
had an issue with it, even from the third installment from 17 years ago, even now. I know the game is a success because I was looking on the Google for the resale price of Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and they had it for about $150
mhm.
to buy the game. So I still have the game for PS2, and I could sell it for like roughly $150 to $200, and that's used. So that's insane. That tells you a lot.
Yeah, dude,
So,
that's why when people are like, guys, like, it's not, and this is funny because everyone's like, Dragon Ball isn't the greatest anime ever because plot hole.
I
Guys,
hate it.
the reason why is as it is where it is it's iconic as hell.
Yes.
Like that's why. It's not because it's a basic story.
No.
It's boy against the world. Boy goes on his own journey, becomes an adult, and that's what it is. It's like it's
Like
a traditional trope.
it's not
It's
even the
so
plot
fucking
line.
iconic.
It's not the plot line, but there are just some like
Moments.
iconic moments
Yeah.
that cling up. As I was 7, I loved it. Goku's turning Super Saiyan against Frieza, Gohan's transformation against Super Saiyan 2, Vegeta sacrificing himself. That changes the whole character development of a guy that was once a narcissist and now changing his ways. So it was like these little moments. Now, don't get me wrong. I love One Piece, for example. One Piece
One
is a
Piece is
great anime.
awesome, but
It's
it's a
Oh
awesome.
my god.
But I
Was-
despise half of their fans. Like they have this hate for Dragon Ball. I'm like, why you gotta hate Dragon
Dude,
Ball?
without it, it's like without Dragon Ball, there is no One Piece.
Exactly. They opened the floodgates.
Like,
I
dude,
love
and this
Naruto as
is
well.
yeah, and this is where I always kind of like
Yeah.
my biggest issue, because, like, for example, I love One Piece. I think that's, for me, like, the
love it.
amount of detail, the writing that Oda does
Yeah.
for world building, like the amount
Oh
of
my god,
characters.
Dash. Sorry to interrupt, but where you read the manga, right?
Yeah, I'm
Of
caught up.
One Piece.
Yep.
You're caught up on the latest chapters, dude. The stuff that we are going back to, the knowledge that you still have to keep from the first episodes, like, and how deep, like, oh my god, like,
No, I get
it's honestly, it's
great.
incredible writing.
I'm not.
Oh
I
my
don't
god.
even. I haven't even been deep into it. I know One Piece is great. If it's got over 1,000 episodes, that tells you enough. Like I'm not gonna sit here and argue, but I'm not gonna listen to like One Piece fans and then trash a series that brought in the floodgate that opened the gates for
Yeah.
every other
No,
anime.
that's trash.
Even Naruto. Like there was this anime podcast, Trash Taste. They're just like constantly shitting on Dragon Ball. I'm like, brother, Why?
You have it, like, for
Yeah,
example.
I understand that tribalism, by the way, because all of them are taking inspiration from each other. Like, how many crossovers did you have where Naruto characters, for example, dress like One Piece characters? Like they did specific like
Oh,
homages
sorry, hold on,
to
breaking
each
news
other, man.
alert, Lions just scored again, 33-6.
Oh yeah, I heard. I
Oh,
didn't watch the
holy.
game, but apparently the Bucks,
Dropped a
they
50
won.
burger.
They did it. They won against the Saints, so good.
Yeah.
They compensated over the loss in the Falcons, so
Yep.
I'm happy for that. But yeah, good old Bucks. It was by the way, that was a good game between the Lions. I give them that. I didn't think I didn't think we were gonna beat the Lions. To
We
be honest
shouldn't.
with you.
We played like shit. I'm sorry. We played like shit.
It happens. It
Like that
happens.
was I just looked at it and I'm just like I was so pissed that day. I just looked at the screen and looked
Honestly,
at it, I was just like,
Dash, if you don't have one of those weird off games, I think you're honestly the best team in the NFC.
I think the Lions are the only team that could beat the
You're
Chiefs.
you're the only team
I think
that could even give them a
I think in
challenge.
the NFC it goes between my opinion is between the Lions and the 49ers.
The
Nah,
49ers don't even look the same, man.
No,
yeah.
they'll get back because the thing is, the way I see it, is that though they may not have the best. They probably are not going to have the best record, but if they make it to the playoffs, that's all they need. Because like this is a type of team that is used to like playing in high pressure, so
Yeah,
they're always going to be a threat. Even
yeah,
with the
but but Shanahan shits the bed all the time.
Yeah, he does, obviously. But even with the Chiefs, like if the Chiefs could have a horrible record and just manage to like squeeze in the playoffs, they'll still win. It's
Yeah,
one of those teams that it doesn't matter what their
yeah,
record is in the regular season. If they play well, it's done. I
yeah.
remember when Brady went to Tampa the first year. I remember it. Every panelist, oh, he's going to lose against Aaron Rodgers in
Yeah.
the NFC Championship. And what happened? They played in the frozen tundra, and Brady threw one of the most insane touchdown passes to Scotty Miller. I still remember to this day.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
the
no,
dude, Scotty Miller. What did they call him? The White Assassin or something like that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Oh,
No,
oh,
but you know, it's kind of what makes it kind of like the thing about the Lions is just like from last season is like their defense is completely different.
finally. Like
Like they held Dallas at home to
hey,
6 points.
hey, the Dallas is trash, so I won't put too much on that. But
You said fuck the Cowboys.
no,
Yeah,
but
they're part of.
honestly, the defense was the only thing missing from your game the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Offensively, you were amazing, and also thanks to the German wide receiver on your team, of course.
Amon Ra, Mr. St.
Yeah,
Brown.
Keep
uh,
one thing in mind. Hutchinson was really good as well.
yeah.
You know, so right now the last touchdown the Lions scored, it was like a 40-yarder touchdown on Dallas. Like they just took it at midfield, said, "Okay, fuck it," and threw it.
Oh yeah.
No, is yep. No, honestly, like I said, the only thing that was missing for the Lions was defense, and dude, they also on the back end of last season, they improved a lot defensively. And now they're honestly a very good balanced team, and that's why I think they're the best. The 49ers are a bit shaky. I don't trust their coaching. Like one game they will go away from their philosophy of giving CMC the ball or whatever. Like until when is he injured, by the way?
Yeah, but
So
McCaffrey is injured now, if I do
yeah,
recall.
yeah, but
I don't think he's gonna be
for how
back
long?
this year.
Like
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the AFC, everybody, yeah, the Chiefs, everybody knows. Like the Bengals are on the mud. I don't know how did they play to already?
Yeah, I think they played tonight, maybe.
do they play? I don't know exactly. What is the Bengal? Oh wait, what is the Bengals record?
They were 1-3, I believe, or
Yeah.
one and something like that.
Like
And
they go up against the Giants. My God, they're 1-4.
yes, I told you. Yeah,
They need to pick it up now. Like this is the best
dude,
opportunity to
dude,
do it.
dude. At this pace, like the Ravens will be first in the division. Dude, at this pace, even Pittsburgh might be ahead of them.
I think Ravens are gonna win it. I do think they just Ravens just won today. They're gonna pick up steam. They'll be fine. I
Uh,
do think that.
I
I just
no, I
hope
don't
this
think they can't beat the Chiefs. I don't think they can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs.
no, I
no,
think
no, no. Nobody
I
can. Nobody
no,
can.
I honestly I think the only team that can beat them is the Bills if they have a good Josh Allen game. Because he is the only guy that or Joe Burrow, of course, because those are the only two guys that have the arm to beat them on an off night,
Josh Allen.
and that's it.
I think with Josh Allen, I think he's an incredible quarterback. But I think with Allen is he's not as always accurate with the ball,
He just
and I
forces
don't
it.
like and I don't
Yeah.
like Sean McDermott too much. Like I don't
Oh
think
no, no, I don't.
I don't
No,
like.
he's a defensive coach. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I just think that like I don't know. They just make too many boneheaded mistakes, and when it
yeah,
matters, that's what I feel like. There's not like Josh Allen is not Tom Brady. Like when Bill Belichick and Brady worked together, it was just like bread and butter.
yeah,
Like they just
yeah,
worked well. Brady's an
yeah,
offensive genius. Belichick was on the defensive end, and it works like they compensated for one each other.
yeah,
Whereas like Allen, I don't think Allen's necessarily the most intelligent player, but he is athletically gifted.
yeah,
And that's the thing about Allen. He's a freak of nature, which
yeah.
he's a very good quarterback, fun to watch. That's my take on Allen. And that's the thing, like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, like when I think of Patrick Mahomes, I think of like Brady giving the baton to him and saying, now it's time for you to shine. It's like
Yeah.
Brady and Gronk, now it's Mahomes and Kelsey.
Dude,
Different players, clearly, but yeah.
hey, hey Jeff,
No,
but what the G move from Brady to win the to win it against Pat and say, hey, cheers, goodbye.
Oh no, that
Yeah,
was great. That was great,
dude,
and that was the first time. So Tampa Bay made history. We are the first team to make it to the Super Bowl in our home
and
turf.
our home state, yeah.
Yep, I remember that. I remember. I ended up after the Super Bowl. I ended up buying a Tom Brady jersey for 120 bucks. I remember that
Dude,
day. I still
dude,
have it. That's the
dude.
only football jersey I
Honestly,
have.
by statistics and everything, I think Patrick Mahomes at some point or is close to beating all of Brady's record and be
Oh, for sure.
I don't
recognized
think he will. I don't think he will.
as you don't think?
I
I
don't
think
think
he
he
will.
will.
Oh, with how much they are throwing the ball around and everything, I think
Oh,
he will beat. But even
for
if
sure,
not that,
I don't think he beats the Super Bowl tally that Brady left.
yeah. But do you think it will be enough to for the majority to recognize Patrick Mahomes as the GOAT?
No,
He's on.
I think it'll just be a lot of conversation between him and Brady still.
I think for me, he's on.
'Cause-
I don't know if he is. I'm not gonna say he is now, but he is in the right trajectory. That's all I'm gonna say right
Yeah,
now. In the right
yeah,
trajectory with the way he's playing. Could
yeah,
that change? Of course. But right now, what he's doing, it's working. That's it.
yeah.
Because
No,
here's what makes it difficult is that him and Brady have gone head to head in high stake games, and Brady's beat him
yeah.
every time.
And that's my point. Why I will have Brady always in front of him. But my question is like, when is the point, like, or what are the statistics that Mahomes has to beat to be recognized or regarded higher as Brady?
I mean,
Because people like Skip Bayless, for example, who by the way won't have a show anymore, thank God. Um, like who is Brady will for always hold it against Patrick Mahomes that Brady beat him in the Super Bowl and an AFC Championship game with the Patriots, I believe once,
Mhm.
like
yes.
those two times,
He went into
and they
Arrowhead and beat him.
and they will forever hold that against Patrick Mahomes, who at that point was
I
what
think
was he 22, 23 years old?
yeah, but like I think he was young. Like you gotta that's impressive that you're going head to head
No,
with one of the greatest
I know,
quarterbacks
I
of
know,
all time at the age of 23. That
Yeah,
is
I know.
impressive.
but again, it's Tom went to Tampa and then beat him soundly. That's why, like for example, that's hard to have it. Like for example, I think if you had like an instance where it was like LeBron versus MJ in a finals, you could easily do it. But like for example, oh man, Aiden Hutchinson got smoked. There goes the Lions defense. Yeah, he's getting carted off.
Oh shit.
Wow. I wonder what happened to him. But
It happens. I mean, right now, oh, dude, the Lions are doing great.
The piss of the Broncos as well.
Well,
23
what
nothing.
quarter are we at? I mean,
Third.
it's 34-6, so fourth quarter. Yeah, they're good.
Third.
But yeah, no, again, it's kind of like, it's kind of like with the Mahomes thing, like to be able to compete with the greatest quarterback of all time, and then be close is impressive on your second year, or I think it was that first year. I don't remember. That's very, very impressive. So I can't hold that against them.
Oh my god, the rushing stats for the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott, 6 yards, 5 carries, 6 yards. Rico Dowdle, 2 carries, 6 yards. CD Lamb, 1 carry, 2 yards. That's the Cowboys running game. Oh my god, they're getting manhandled.
You wanna know? You wanna know some fun fact about Cup Miners? Do you know who his favorite who his favorite player is?
Jared Goff.
Nah, Tom Brady. I felt like he won brownie points with me when he said that. Like, I felt like, okay, this guy could be a captain and he's intelligent with the game. If you pick somebody like Tom Brady, who is not even athletic for shit, but has like a game IQ of Einstein for football,
that's
like,
true.
I feel like you're gonna be good in the field.
By the way, I'm still thinking like Hope Miners is that one goal away from being unlocked, because right now he's trying a bit much. I'm getting into that topic now because you just mentioned him. I think he's only one goal away from then all of a sudden exploding.
He's going to explode.
All over the scene. Yeah,
I believe he will be fine. I believe he's going to do
absolutely.
great. Just give it time. Like, I'm not expecting great. I'm not going to expect. I don't want high expectation. I want him to be intelligent on the field, give good through balls. Those are my primary things that I want from him. When he starts to calm down and get situated with the squad, like to get fully integrated, then I know he's going to do fine. So I could care less. I could care less about what Cup Miners does if he does the extra, but just do the simple.
Yep.
And that's it.
He will do great, man. He will do great. Like if you see how many big chances he had that he missed, that he the last years typically scored with Atalanta. I think if he gets that one goal like out of his way finally,
he will.
Amazing. He's already very good, like in the passing game with the team that he barely knows. Like, give him time, and dude, it will be
agree.
amazing.
And they got a lot. I'm gonna give even Doogie some time. Honestly, I shit on him. I said a lot of takes that maybe might have jinxed him a little bit, but I think he has the capabilities as well. So I hope Douglas Luiz gets his head out of his butt, because if I think he cooks, he's gonna do really well.
Look who came out of his hole.
Hey man, Serbia beat Switzerland today, so Vlad's celebrating.
Oh. You know what? Whatever. I'll give them. They played well. They played very
well. Do you know who was missing?
They actually played well.
Serbia?
I know it's like usually I would get killed. The other Albanians would eat my head alive if I say that Serbia played well, but they played well. Mitrovic actually looked good. Yeah, they did well.
Did Albania lose to was it the Czech Republic?
Czech Republic.
Yeah,
I haven't watched the game. I just saw the score, and I was a bit surprised.
No marking whatsoever.
Well, was he your favorite fullback player?
No, it was just everything in general.
Oh.
I mean, me and Dash know this better than anybody. Husay's got to get the fuck out of the squad.
He needs to just retire.
Exactly. Just done. He's done. Sadi's not there. Sadi's not at Lazio. Just go. We're done. It's over. Like, the guy's horrible. But yeah, I'm gonna head out, guys, because I got to do some homework and I got a plan for tomorrow. Got a lot of cleanup to do. I'll send you guys some videos on Discord, some of the aftermaths from Milton. But yeah. It's pretty fun. So yeah. Thank you guys for having me on.
Hey, take care of everything. Yeah.
No problem.
Later.
See you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there anything else, or shall we call it an early one?
I don't know if Vlad comes up with something he wants to talk about. No, I have one last topic on how you prepare a match against strikers or wingers or offensive players in general. Like, it is so easy if you think about it, but what is the most important thing to prepare for if you are a defender, or when you as a defender prepare for your offensive opponents?
Well, the first thing I would look at is I would look at who's the main facilitator for the opposing team. So who's the main person that has to be on the ball? And then I look at it and it's like, okay, how does that person receive the ball? How do I siphon it so that person isn't on the ball as much? Or like, for example, if I'm looking at it where it's like this person has 3 to 4 seconds, okay, how do I minimize that time from 3 to 4 seconds to maybe 2.5? Like, I'm looking at how to cut off areas of supply for their main playmaker in that sense. So like, for example, if another team has a striker that's a really lethal striker, I look at the striker and I look, okay, so what's his abilities, what's his capabilities, and then outside of that I'll look at it from the, okay, uh who's he feeding, who's he being fed, how is he being fed, and then I look at it from that perspective, then I break it down and so on. So because when you're up against an elite striker, an elite player, it's more so you want to minimize how they get the ball instead of stopping them, because the best way to stop them is you take them out of the game entirely.
Yes, exactly. Like, you can, like, the first basic thing is even less complex, because, like, what I learned from experience, and also like what the coach ironically like explained yesterday, and I remembered it, and how it's not as complicated as you think about, like, to prepare a defensive game plan. For example, let's say you are Dusan Vlahovic.
Mm-hmm.
You have only one working leg, basically. And that way, like, where do you have to force that striker to him not being effective? To which side of the pitch?
You'd want to push him to the left side of the pitch because he can't cut in on his right.
And
So
he
you'd want
has
to,
a bad
yeah,
angle. He
yep.
has a bad angle if you force him left. So that limits him already. So you have you have that done, like, scratched of your game plan. So you will force him left like all the time. You have a physical defender, and he's ineffective with that.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, how you cut off the supply to him. Where does he receive the ball from? Typically not from the left side, because then you would have forced him left easier. So he gets it either from the right wing or from center midfield most of
Yep.
the time. So you man mark, or you have a player in between the midfielder and the striker, or in this case, if it's the right winger that is supplying him, you have an extra fullback on the right winger, or a center back covering that half space so the ball doesn't get through to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you already cut off the supply to the main striker. And the rest, for example, and that is, by the way, only with defenders, not even involving midfielders yet. That covers all the other spaces centrally and spread out in that defensive backline. And oh man, there's so many interesting stuff.
Yeah, now our breakdown videos will be even bigger, even
Yeah.
longer.
Hey, I don't mind it. Hey, if people gonna watch it.
No, absolutely. I think people will. But alrighty then. I think that's everything. We hit the hour mark. We
Yep.
waffled you for an hour, even though
Yep.
there's not really much to cover. Once the international break ends, we'll be back to regular scheduled programming. So this is what I like to call a filler week. But
Yep.
obviously,
And by the way, I agree with Vlad that Yildiz is gonna shine the 10 role. It just depends on if we have enough fit wingers to cover for Yildiz role.
yeah,
but
that's
but overall,
even
I don't I don't I
as,
don't mind
Jim,
Yildiz in the
as
10.
Jimmy Uso would say, we need some
We need
help.
help.
But alrighty then, everyone. Obviously, the usuals, likey and the old subby, and then we shall get geared up to see ya on Thursday.